When I was young, my parents divorced, and as a little girl, I was about 6 years old, something like that, and I wanted to live with my mom, but she would not allow me to live with her. And I remember as a young girl being torn from my mother, and here I am standing there with my arms around her leg, not wanting to go. My father's taken me away, and I didn't understand that at the time. And he had married, and for the first time I met this woman, and we went and lived with her, my stepmother, and my father. And I didn't bond with my stepmother. I had a very close relationship with my mother, and only saw her a couple of times, every other weekend and, part of the summer. Here I was, not having bonded with my stepmother, having been rejected by my mother, by her not allowing me to live with her when I'd ask her about that. And combining those, being rejected by my mother, looking like a tomboy and feeling like a boy and looking like a boy. And my father was an absent father. I didn't see him at all. He was away from town a lot. And so I didn't have any of his affirmation. I never felt pretty. I never felt like, did the girly things. I felt loved by my mother when I was with her, but her denial for us to allow her to come and live with her, I felt rejected by her. I felt abandoned by her during the times that she, when I was a little kid and they took us away, and her just allowing it to happen. I didn't understand. At that young age, I didn't understand courts, custody battles, and things like that. All I knew was Mom rejected me, and I felt abandoned by her. So having never really bonded with a female, as I grew older, my desires naturally went longing for a woman, longing for the bonding of a female relationship. I had my first crush on a girl when I was in the 4th grade. It was of a teacher, and I longed for that feeling of emotion with the woman. I had a good relationship with all the boys. As a tomboy, it was easy for me to bond with them and to talk with them. I never really knew how to communicate with the girls. I had a few girlfriends, but most of my friends were guys. And at some point, some of the guys took advantage of the fact that they had a girl in the crowd. At the beginning, that was the kid curiosity. And as it got a little bit older, I wasn't ever really given a choice. There were times that it took me until later years to realize that it was actually rape. I've really felt that I had no worth and value. I felt at some level that if I were a boy, on top of the tomhood and all that stuff, that I would actually have control over my own destiny. I would have control over other people's lives. I just rejected the fact of trying to be a girl at all. When I was probably, I don't know, about 14 or 15, somewhere in that general area, I had tried to commit suicide. And I woke up the next morning. I had gone to my parents' medicine chest and taken a lot of pills. And I woke up the next morning, much to my dismay, still alive. And I thought, oh man, what am I doing still alive? So I prayed a prayer. I said, God, if you exist, if you're supposed to be up there, take this away from me. And if you do this, if you make me well, I promise I'll never try to commit suicide again. And he did. He answered my prayer. It's the first prayer I think that I know of that he ever answered. Immediately I felt this like a ring come at the bottom of my feet, and it circled me and went all the way through and all the way up to the top of my head. And from the point where it began, I could tell that my body was different as it passed, as it went through. And I was completely healed from the effects of the medication that I had taken. Pure passion that beats for Christ alone. Pure passion. When I realized there was a gay community out there, and it was pretty big, and I was amazed, I plunged totally and wholly into it and felt like I had truly found myself, that I had found my inner self, that I had found who I was over the years. I felt it total acceptance. I felt completely where I belonged. I felt finally that I could express myself sexually. A lot of these women had the same fear towards men that I had in some ways. A lot of them, they were dressing like I was, covering a body so that men wouldn't recognize it and see it. they didn't wear makeup. I was never really learned how to wear makeup. I mean, everything just, I was exactly like them in so many ways. And it wasn't just in appearance, it was in thought process. I was still searching for a woman's heart, searching to bond with a woman's nature. I met a woman that I did end up having a long-term relationship with, excuse me, and that felt really good at first. That felt as if I had met a soulmate. That felt like my life, as I understood it, was whole and complete, that I had found who I was, that I had found the nature of my being. You can try to repair a heart, but nothing really repairs the heart and fills the hole. It's just a fake feeling, a fake love. Most of the women were all angry about something. They were angry about sexual abuse from their childhood. They were angry with their dad. They were angry with each other. And many of them masked their bitterness and their hatred with alcohol or drugs. And others appeared perfectly normal. And, so I mean, it wasn't all of them, but it was many that carried the same feelings, that they felt rejected, they felt despised from society.